and welcome to today's talk in the Self-Love and Self-Care Summit. Our self-love expert today is Shane Coleman, here to talk about how we can dive into the inner child work so our lives work amazing right now. The Enchantress Shane is an entrepreneurial artist, spiritual guide, and community leader. She leads sensitive women to overcome their awkwardness and insecurities to reach their wildest dreams. Shane, welcome.
Yay, thank you. Happy to be here.
Let's get down to business. This is a self-love and self-care summit for women. So I want to get your take. Why is it, from your perspective, that self-love and self-care is especially difficult for women?
Because women are amazing and powerful, and it makes other people squirm when we're in our power. Ooh.
What a fun answer.
Yeah, what a fun answer. I feel so spirited by this because it's really much easier to deal with a woman when she's feeling too fat or feeling not smart enough or feeling stupid. We know what to do with people when they feel like that. We reprimand them and we make them feel like they have to do better, and then they go into hiding. But I'm here to stand in for the opposite, which is like, yeah, when we're in our power, we're going to make people uncomfortable.
I love it. It's time to disrupt.
Yes, exactly. What a great word.
So that's why we're putting this whole summit together. The tools to get you there, to be in your body, in your power, unapologetically.
Totally. And I want to say, it doesn't mean like, oh, 100% of the time you've reached the Mecca and now you're like, ta-da. We have been trained, whether it's 20, 30, 40, 50 years, to play small, to feel like a loser, to not feel enough, to not fit in. And so we need each other as reminders constantly. When you're in your power, I remember my own. And that is why lately, I would even say in the last 5 years, sisterhood is really mainstream enough. There's still a lot of not love going on, but the idea that I can win and you can win is really feels very new in this lifetime.
Yeah, I think it comes down to this redefinition of success. It's not, there's only so much to go around.
Right. Right. And success can mean maybe you're not married. Maybe you don't have this and this and that, that fits into the American dream, and you can still feel great. Now, I fit into that category. I'm not married. I don't think I'm interested in that union in that way. And there's a little girl part of me that's like, I want a ring. But my grown-up self is like, I don't really need that in order to receive love from a special person. And so I think it's really an interesting time to be alive, where we get to question, what is success? Really, what is success? Because somebody living in a tent on the beach is success, and someone living in a mansion feels success, and neither one of them is right or wrong.
Yeah, I love that. That we can own our own different perspectives, but you have to bring in that self-awareness. And I know you are an expert when it comes to the inner child, and admittedly, it's not work I'm deeply familiar with outside of my own personal experiences. So tell us more about that. Tell us how it relates to self-love, and maybe start with, why are you an expert on the inner child?
I love it. So I graduated college and I went to get my master's in education and working with little kids and special education. And for the first 8 years of my coaching practice, I was working with families and children, and I'm a behaviorist. So I got to really tune in on children, their behaviors. When they want something, they have tenacity. I'm going to get it. When they don't belong somewhere, they fall apart. When they're not invited to a birthday party, they fall apart. And then moving forward in my career, I worked with kids in prison, same things. Then I worked with parents, same things. And I just noticed this human feelings of wanting to belong, wanting to feel liked, really, really simple, innocent things. But as adults, we make it so hard. And it looks like, I don't belong. I don't have any friends. I spend time alone. I'm not a people person. We call it social anxiety. But when a child is 4, they're just like, I want to be invited. And so if our experiences as children where we're not invited, or, we feel left out, or we don't feel like we made the cut of the cool kids, those experiences don't leave our body. It's a lot of work of Carl Jung, and the idea that we hold these painful experiences in our blueprint of who we are. And I want to give everybody listening just a quick dot of this. If you think about a birthday party in your life and it's time to sing and everybody's looking at you and the candles are there, some kids are like, yay, bring it on. And some kids are like, oh, I don't want this much attention. And so we've been trained on how to feel from being seen at a very young age. Even 4-year-olds, I remember, would say like, those aren't real Uggs. I'm like, are you abusing me and my fake Uggs, But depending who their parents are, and those experiences stay with us. And whenever there's resistance that comes up, I noticed, whether it's parents or teenagers or kids, the same behaviors come up. The defensiveness, the blaming, the self-victimhood, all of it never goes away.
Yeah. So it's like it just creates this map, this neural pathway, these memories fired, and they're triggered, and they're there, and they show up later on in life too. We're just so moldable as a child. Is that what you're saying? Is that those experiences, because it literally physically shapes you, your memories are structured here neurologically, and they're there within your body. And so are you saying that because of that, it's like a snapshot memory of that version of you when you're a child, and these different snapshots of you, of these moments in time that shaped us, and they're just still in there?
Totally. And it doesn't even have to be a big moment. It could be like, mom's got a headache, you came out in costume ready to sing, and she looks at you, and that feeling gets registered. Oh, and the child comes up with something like, oh, when I'm dressed up, it makes mommy mad. Note taken. And then as an adult, no self-expression, this is extreme, but wearing black every day, trying to just fade into the background. And the other piece I want to say is, I used to be a therapist. This is therapeutic work, but it's not therapy. Why do I say that? I'm not interested, and I don't want anybody to hear this and think like, oh, I have to go into 20 years of therapy. It's to take actions now, not to remember and recall the stories that didn't feel good, because it can trigger the, like, I want to blame someone. So, coaching, what I feel is the most important thing, is about taking action, like taking into consideration, oh, that might have been my thing. How do I restructure that now? So it's really inner parenting the inner children we have of all different ages.
I love that. I think I have that a similar perspective to you. I think it's helpful if you can remember, oh yeah, that one seemingly innocuous event is probably one of the reasons why I feel the way I do. For me, this is so silly, but I did eventually, after doing a lot of my own self-work, finally remembered the silliest little experience of being in the car with my family, and they can like make themselves burp by putting air in their I don't know. I still can't really do it. And they were doing it. I couldn't do it. So I got upset that I couldn't do it. And then they laughed at me because I got upset. And then I cried because they laughed at me because I was upset. And any silly little experience like that an adult would look at and be like, oh, just get over it, can just create a mark. And I found it kind of interesting and helpful to recognize, oh, I had experiences like that where I didn't feel comfortable expressing myself and sharing how I felt. I was going to be made fun of if I showed vulnerability. And so I always kept, my real feelings on the inside because I didn't think they were going to be well received. I didn't need to remember that in order to recognize that this is how I'm behaving, and to apply the tools that I'm sure you're going to give us some more tools to work on to take action. Like you say, it can be interesting and maybe a little helpful, but not necessary. Is that what you're saying?
I love that you said that. It's almost like validating. It's like, oh, cool, I had that, versus like, which I think therapy is going into the story first and seeing what's wrong with you. And that's another problem that really plagues women, is when they're doing this self work, that they're just like trying to get to the root and the core of what doesn't work about them. And that is keeping that same paradigm going and going. So I want everybody to really hear this, is that everyone here is amazing. No one's broken. There are things that we can tweak and refine, but you don't have to heal. It's really about expanding. And when you're expanding, whatever that means to you, it's like the stuff in the back just gets healed. It doesn't have, you don't have to go into construction zone. You don't have to fix your chakras. You're not broken. You can always get better, and you're great just right now.
Such a good reminder. Tell me more about the inner child and it being helpful versus not helpful.
Great. So it's not helpful if it takes you into what's wrong with you. When it is helpful, it's like you don't want different parts running the show. So I have teach a course, Fuck Your Fears, and we break it into little girl energy, teenager energy, and then grown up enchantress, like integrated. And the little girl energy is like bright, shiny objects. I want new things. I can't keep myself focused. I want to do all the things. I want to make all the projects. I want to dance. I want to play. Maybe nothing gets done, but there's like lots of joy, lots of excitement. And then the teenager self, her biggest thing is like, don't tell me what to do. I don't want to do that. And a lot of clients who are just like, they don't want to do the work, or they just want to stay in their story. They feel misunderstood.
Yep, a little victimhood there too.
Yeah, and really making their victim like their best friend. Now I say it happens to me too. So I don't want to put my, I'm still in this work. It doesn't.
Me too.
Yeah, it doesn't go away, And the idea is, once you can recognize which part has the need, the human, the integrated self can figure out what that need is, give it to the self, and then not let the little girl run the show. I don't want my little girl running my business, because when she gets on a sales call and someone says no, she's going to go to bed, put the blanket over her head and be like, I don't want to be in business anymore. They hurt my feelings. Grown-up goddess is like, cool, it wasn't a good fit. I feel okay about that. The teenager would say like, this fucking idiot doesn't know what's good for her, so really getting clued in on what reactions happen, and knowing like, oh, look, my inner child is trying to run my business. Okay, what does she need? She needs some glitter and stickers and a pink bow, and she feels so seen and so heard. She's not going to give me any credit for it. She's going to be like, but I'm going to be able to, that part of me that has a need is going to have the need met. And then when I do this interview and we have this conversation, all the parts, the little girl in me sitting with her lollipop, the teenagers like on the phone, and I can show up and include them. I'm talking some metaphors here. I think everyone will follow, and be my fully integrated self, which means I'm going to have fun. I'm going to be right. I'm going to share what I know, which is very teenager. And I'm going to be generous and giving, which is very grown up, integrated enchantress goddess.
I love that. What a fun perspective too. And so relatable, each of those different stages. Cause that it's like, I don't want to clean the bathroom. I don't. And sometimes, I always picture it as, when I'm doing that, I don't want to I always think of it as talking, what would I say to a small child? But it's a subtler shift. It's my inner child. And just that one little shift for me helps me step into feeling like I own that voice a little bit better.
Totally. And if it's a little girl thing where it's like, I don't wanna, it's very egocentric. Like children are very egocentric, like me, my dish, like my world. They don't. And if we can fulfill that need, whatever that need is, we can actually be more present for ones that we love. So when we love ourselves, it's all the parts. Now there's many more parts, but I find that the little girl in ourselves and the teenager are the loudest. There's also like an angry, grumpy, masculine side that's like, what, are you not going to do anything today? So, all the parts I would say are important, but those two, because of the wounding that women receive from a very young age, how many 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds I have met, and they're like, this is her boyfriend when they go to school. And I'm like, oh, really? Even the princesses, like all this, Cinderella, like it's always about waiting for the prince. And how does that fuck us up as adults? It's like, if you don't have a prince, you're a loser, you know? It might be my generation, this Prince Charming thing that's, just waiting for him to show up. It screws up our psyche.
Or that there's just one.
It's just one, like, why? Why be so limited, So really getting to the core of like, oh, my resistance when things feel hard, there's an inquiry that can happen in that moment that helps move through it. So it's not 4 days in bed. It's not a month. It's not going around claiming I'm depressed.
Yeah. Just that is that step in that right direction.
Yeah.
I think, our fears hold us back so much. We're so afraid of so often it's ambiguous, even what it is we're afraid of, but we just feel this fear and it holds us back. So can you give an example of maybe a time that you've taken a big risk, that something might've been kind of scary, that you relied on the inner child or your knowledge of the inner child to help get you through it?
Yeah. I mean, a million, but the biggest one that I took was I declared I was going to do a one-woman show. And then I sat on it. And then my friend's like, are you going to do it? You're going to do it. And I was really helpful. And then I sold tickets on Eventbrite, and I didn't have a theater. I didn't work on it. I just, like, my grown-up goddess self was like, take the risk. And then I didn't want to work, nothing. I did nothing on it. And then I sold the show out because I love being on social media. Then I rented a theater, and the small theater wasn't available. And then I had to rent the bigger theater, and I sold it out again. And every step of the way, I hadn't even started working on it yet. And I was like, what am I going to do? And then somebody popped into my life and she's like, I'll be your director. And we did it. And we showed it as a work in progress. And it was so scary. But the parts that made it okay and why I did it was my stage was full of costumes, which made my teenager very happy. And my little girl self was getting attention, which I love, and my little girl loves. And then, and the parts of me that were really hard on myself, I'm still hard on myself about it, but no matter what, it wasn't perfect. It wasn't, people say it was amazing, but I'm like, you don't even know what I got. That wasn't amazing. I got more. And I did it. And I did a one-woman show off Broadway, New York City. People sold it out. People were sitting on the floor. Like, it was such a big deal. And yet I can't even believe that I did all of those things. I mean, I can give you a couple of others, but that one feels like the biggest thing, to really have my name out there. Like, I'm doing a thing, and then I've never done a one-woman show before. I really want this to land with your people. It's like, it was so scary. It was so scary because I was also 5 characters. One of them was my grandmother, which makes me super sad, who's a Holocaust survivor. Like, I brought in a girl I worked with from prison. Like, I was 5 painful characters who were all stuck in a prison of their mind. It's really intense.
That sounds amazing. That's a scary thing. The whole, not just doing it, but just taking the leap and trying to sell it. And then the whole, oh, well, I need to, I've done that before as a tactic for myself to hold myself accountable, because I know I'm prone to being a little too nervous and a little too perfectionist. And then I keep hitting it off and kicking the can down the road. And then maybe another shiny butterfly will come along first, and then I won't end up doing it. And so I've used that as a tool, as an accountability tool. I sold and launched a program before I even created it to help hold me accountable to create it as I go. And then I did, and it came out great. And it shifted me into this, what could happen shift me from that and into the, well, this is happening and now I'm going to do the work to do it.
Yeah.
With your one woman show, did you did you put this together as a way to satisfy needs from your inner children, or what's the relationship there?
Yeah, I am in my safest place in the world when I'm on stage. It's everywhere, everything that I love, that my body loves, that I get to be seen. Now, I have been on many different stages, but this was not just me on stage. This was my play. I was writing. This was my written work. I'm an improv actor. I'm a dancer. So there's no script to memorize. So this was really hard. And my teenager was triggered the whole way because I had to memorize according to this, my friend, the director. And I was like, I don't want to memorize. And I didn't know who to listen to. I'm like, I could do whatever I want. It's my show. And then I was like, wait, am I doing this show to grow and do something that's hard? So there was learning all along the way, and also making it known that it's a work in progress. But I got up there and I wanted people to like me. I was like, please, is this good? Is this good? Like the most insecure I've ever felt was this show. And looking at the audience and seeing a couple of people and their faces had some expression. And I'm like, my God, this is terrible. They want to, so I couldn't be 100% present. It was definitely something that exposed a lot of shadow stuff that I really thought would just vanish. Cause in my head, I'm a celebrity. This is amazing. And I'm like, these people are lying. They're saying I'm great. Like they don't even know me. They just like, all these old stories of similar language that I had used in high school. I had a boyfriend and I was like, do you really think I'm pretty? Like, I didn't believe him. And so that's what it felt like. So our teenage years get reflected when we start a business, when we step out in a big way, all of the insecurities, even mothers, when they have babies, all those insecurities come right up. I'm not doing it right. I don't fit in. And I want to give a tool, actually, something easy, really efficient. And it's 4 little words. Right now, I feel. And they can be used in a sentence. They can be used in writing. They can be used in an argument. They can be used for self-talk. And it's a way to really clue in. And it's self-awareness, like you said. It's right now I feel energy. Right now I feel tired. Right now I feel thirsty. Right now I feel connected. One word. Women love to tell stories. We are not here to tell stories because it gets us stuck. It's just a one word. What do I feel now? And how about right now? And how about right now? And so, we have 30, 40, 50,000 thoughts a day. How do we decipher which one is really important? Because if we let our mind drift, it could drift into you're a loser. And then the whole day is like that. Or like, maybe I'm a winner. We can so it's a great way to poke on our inner landscape and see what's actually happening in this moment.
Yeah. It sounds like the underlying theme behind all of this is bringing in self-awareness of what is going on, who inside me is speaking and needs attention, and what is it they need. It's turning the lens inward. And I like your 4 words. I use something similar, and you used the word that I use, which is, my question is, what's the story I'm telling myself right now? It just as a little bit of a reminder to the subconscious that this is a story, this is an idea. So what is it? Let's look at it objectively, factually. This is what's happening. And, that's the starting place for change, for growth, is this self-awareness. So I love the new perspectives, a new to me perspective of the multi inner children inside. It's really helpful.
So it's so fun. I love what you said, because what you brought in was noticing. There's a judgment piece, which is like, but there's like, oh, look at that. I am really being mean to myself right now. Wow, that's interesting. Or I am avoiding this phone call. I wonder what's happening for me, and going in with curiosity and inquiry about the story that might even just be running like a low-grade fever. You don't even realize it.
Yeah, I love that. What a good metaphor. I know you were telling me about a really fantastic set of tools that you have to offer everybody here. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So it's I made it free for everybody here. It's called Awkward and Enchanted. And it's three practices. Of course, now I feel like I want to add a bonus, but right now it's three practices. And it's in the Awkward Academy, which is the school that I own. And I would say in all my programs, when I get inspired, I add to them. So it's like a lifetime of goodies. But it's three different practices for the three pieces in ourselves. It's the little girl in us, the inner teenager, which is my favorite practice. When you go on and see it, it's just so genius and it works every time. And then the grown-up goddess in all of us. And a big piece of it is self-expression, and so whatever the little kid needs, and it might be, okay, I'm going to stomp around my house for 10 minutes and say, it's not fair. It's not fair. Because there's a lot of things that aren't fair and we don't get to express that, so to allow the tantrum is really important. And so these three tools, the tantrum is not part of them. But on some level, all of the tools allow some form of tantrum because it's a movement of energy. And I talk about a lot of women who get stuck mind fucking. And so if one of you are a mind fucker, basically what that is you're just overthinking, analyzing, oh, this, oh, that, oh, this. And it just is a waste of time, to be honest. But if we do something with our body, even laying down on the bed, you don't have to get up and use a lot of energy. It moves energy, which then informs the mind. Oh, wait, I don't have to think of that story. So it's in the Awkward Academy. It's called Awkward and Enchanted, Getting to Know Your Inner Children.
Oh, wow, so cool. I love that. Definitely check that out. There's a link below, so you can download that or go and access that and learn more all about Enchantress Shane. I've got one last question for you, because I know there's somebody still watching this video that hears that voice that says, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough, everyone's better than you. And she's still in this place where she believes it. What's your best advice for her?
I would say get in the mirror or start to write down. I'll use my name, but you fill in your name. I love you, little Shane. I'm always here for you. Like to really, I feel so tender in my heart saying that, is just to get to that compassionate place. And even if you say it, let's say for 3 minutes, if you do it every day, even if in the beginning you're like, this isn't working, this sucks, I don't want to do it, just keep saying it. I love you, little Shane. I'm always here for you. I love you, little Shane. I'm always here for you. The truth will resonate in your body and you might feel sad. You might start to cry. And that's beautiful. We need our emotions to inform us. Oh shit, there's something going on here.
It's beautiful. And I can attest 100%. It'll feel weird at first.
Yeah, totally.
Only because you haven't done it before. It's just new. It's like learning how to speak a new language.
Totally. Actually, I think, if everybody's a driver, like when you didn't know how to drive, it's awkward, it's fumbly. Then you drive and you're like, I do this, whatever. So just to really remember that just what you said, when something is new, it feels weird.
Yeah.
It is weird.
Just keep trying it. Just keep trying it. It's great. I love, can you say it first one more time?
Yes. I love you, little Shane. I'm always here for you. And you fill your name in, not mine.
Well, Enchantress Shane, thank you so much. I love every little nugget of wisdom that you shared with us, and you're a beautiful soul. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for playing.
All right. Bye, everybody.